Hi, I'm Davis.
And I'm Jackson.
We're 5th graders at Spalding.
And you're listening to the West Data Podcast.
I would just say, to parents, we all have the same goal. We love your kid. We care about your kid. We want to help. So if you're struggling, if you need ideas, we want to help.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the West Ada Podcast. I'm so glad that you are here to join us today. It's not necessarily a light conversation that we're having today. We're talking to a couple of our amazing counselors.
Yeah, we have great colleagues who do great work.
Yeah.
And this topic is like you said, not a light one, but a necessary one, and something that we have to talk about. And so we have Kylee Bendorf. She's our administrator of counseling and student services. Yeah. And then Sara Jo Buffington. She is an elementary school counselor.
Yes.
And they really provide some perspective on topics around self-harm and giving our students the tools and resources necessary to kind of have those protective factors to maybe avoid that down the road.
And it is so important. And to hear Sara Jo talk, I didn't think about some of the preventative stuff that we do at the elementary level, but just to have, because we're parents, our teachers, our parents, we're not necessarily experts. We know when it might not be right. With one of our children, but to have experts in West Ada that do what they do.
To come alongside, right? Isn't that what it's all about? I mean,
Completely.
Public education is all about partnering with parents and just we're all helping each other out to raise the best kids we can.
Completely. So I'm again, just glad that you're here for that aspect of the conversation. And then we get to talk to a couple of sophomore boys at Eagle High School.
We got a couple of student council Mustangs in here talking about all the things going on at Eagle.
Well, I'd love just to get their perspective on what life is like in our high schools right now. So anyway, again, I'm belaboring the point, but we are so glad you're here. Let's get to, again, it's not an easy conversation, but I think it'll hopefully be very valuable for you.
Yep.
Let's get to it.
Sara Jo and Kylee, thank you so much for being here on the West Ada Podcast. We're really excited to kind of jump into a topic that's maybe not so easy to talk about, but absolutely necessary. So thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Yeah, I appreciate what you guys do. Yeah.
Kylee, do you want to share a little bit of your background and kind of how you've come to this point in your career?
So I am currently administrator of counseling and student services for West Ada School District. This is my 4th year, and prior to this, I've actually been in our district for 25 years as a teacher, counselor, and building administrator, and now at the administration.
So you've worn lots of hats. Lots of hats.
Yes. Yes, lots of hats. Worked with kids for a long time.
Love it. Well, and Sara Jo, you're at Frontier in McMillan.
Correct.
What's it like being an elementary counselor, and a little bit of your background too?
This is my 7th year as a school counselor in general, and I've spent all of that in West Ada. I've always been at Frontier, but the last couple of years I've kind of dabbled at McMillan, and now I'm 50% of the time there. And I love it. I love working with little people. What kind of sparked your interest? How did you go into school counseling for elementary? I started out as a play therapist, out in the community. And it just, I struggled, sometimes kids showing up to those appointments. And I thought, well, kids have to come to school. So, so just, I don't know, more consistency, consistency. Yeah.
Well, and Katie kind of already alluded to this a little bit, but we're talking about, it's the deep end of the pool. We're talking about self-harm and risk and how people deal with risk. But I don't typically think of elementary schools dealing with self-harm and risk that early on. That's a silly thing for me to think. Would you agree? Would you agree with that?
I think it goes back to just building those foundational skills that start from a really young age. Even I would think even before school age.
Sure.
Just being able to identify feelings, knowing what those feelings feel like in your body, knowing what helps you feel better. Maybe having words to describe how you're feeling, that kind of thing. Building your emotional vocabulary. Things like that.
All of it matters.
Yeah. Social skills, how to interact with others.
Yeah. Knowing who you can go to, who you feel safe with.
Well, and it's kind of the same question to you, Kylee. I feel like it's easy for me to think about, risk factors with middle schoolers and high schoolers, but the elementary level really is, we need to be proactive, I guess is the right way to say it.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the learning comes through those preventative work and that what we call upstream prevention. But sadly, there are times where we have some elementary students who do struggle with that we have to do more intervention work with self-harm, unfortunately, but that does happen. It's still in quite low number, which is good, but any is like, we need to attack it if there's any.
What does that look like in your daily work, though? Like, what are some of those first kind of indicators that, like, maybe raise some concerns for you or teaching staff or any other staff, any other caring adult?
I mean, I think we look a lot for like those kids who are withdrawn, who are maybe not connecting with others. Maybe they're having some friendship, struggles and challenges.
Yeah, and often sometimes you can see that maybe a kid has an atypical reaction to what you would think, that's interesting that they're reacting this way. Sometimes that's a withdrawal, or sometimes that's a no feelings, and sometimes that's over feelings. Like, like these big feelings with something that maybe is not that big.
Like, it doesn't match the situation. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of backing up a little bit here, but why do you all do what you do? I mean, and that's almost an impossible question to, but teachers, coaches, they love kids, counselors love kids. Why do you do what you do? I mean, you've been doing this for 25 years. Why this job now?
Yeah. Well, I think you get into it because you love kids and you want to work with kids and you want to help kids. And, when I was a teacher, I was able to do that. And then I had this desire to maybe dig into things with kids a little bit more and dig in with parents a little bit more than at the classroom level. So then I was a counselor, right? And then pretty soon, like, I loved my counseling role so much, but I naturally kind of went into administration so I could maybe be more of a decision maker in a system. And I remember lots of people saying, well, do you feel like that you like wasted your counseling skills? And I'm like, no, like, I've enhanced them. Like, as an administrator, I probably counseled kids more as an administrator, to be honest, because you're working with kids and their behaviors as an administrator a lot, and maybe, I always then, just with my counseling background, took the approach of now how do we help you change your behavior? Not just intervene on your behavior. Okay, maybe this happened. Let's figure out how then to not have it happen again, or what skills do you need to develop
alleviate problems down the road.
I really used a ton of my counseling skill in administration. And then this almost was kind of the perfect job for me, as like bringing my teaching and administration and counseling all together, and like running a department that is focused on counseling for kids. School counseling.
And maybe colleagues sometimes who stop by your office.
And colleagues, colleagues who stop by my office. Not that I know anyone who's done that.
No names mentioned.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it's great. I love working with people.
Yeah.
That's really
Sara Jo, same question for you. I mean, why do you do what you do?
I think for me, like, I had a great school counselor growing up. And so, I don't know, I valued them so much. And I love working with kids. I don't know that you'll catch me ever in the high schools or maybe middle school someday, but the little kids are my jam. So, and just knowing how much that school counselor helped me through like the things that I went through. Yeah.
That's huge.
Amazing.
Well, just equipping our young people with skills. That's kind of the point of education, right? Like, we come alongside parents as partners in education, and just giving your kids those tools and skills, all to kind of like addressing the whole child, right? It's not just reading and math and science, but really helping them deal with other humans and their experience here. I think it's great that you do what you do.
Yeah. So I love working with parents. That's... Yeah.
Well, and that's a great segue. I mean, obviously, you're not just working with kids. You're working with teachers and administrators and parents. Like, what does that look like? And not even in your day to day, but what does that look like in your world? I mean, Sara Jo, why don't you start there? I mean, you got to work with parents. You got to work with everybody.
Yeah. Reaching out to parents when we see like some of these changes in their kids that are kind of outside of their normal behaviors or outside of their realm. I think just having open communication with them and offering resources if that's something that they need or that they want. I don't know.
I think I think it's important for parents to know too that it's not like it's not an in trouble thing. It's like a real partnership. I mean, I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys. Boys are crazy, right? Like, anytime I've been reached out to by school staff, I immediately bristle a little bit, kind of wanting to go on the defensive. And then I realize, like, no, they're just they're offering help and assistance, like take it, it's free. It's, wise advice. And I think that's just important for people to know.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say that kind of brings in how we work with administrators and teachers as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes students have a hard time learning because their behaviors impacting some of that learning, or maybe some of their social skills or self-regulation skills are impacting that learning. So we're just another support system that we can go in and help students and say, hey, administrator, maybe I can talk with the kid and work with the parents, and maybe we can help them develop some skills that manage their behavior a little bit better or manage their self-regulation a little bit better so they can be better learners. And so we work with staff, we work with administrators, we work with parents, we work with each other. Hey, I have this kid and this is what they're really struggling with. Any ideas? And so we really are doing it all to help the kid become a better learner so they can, get those skills in those other content areas that they need. But
well, and this is a complete aside, so forgive me, but like, we were talking before we started recording, like, Sara Jo, you're one of our love and logic experts. Yeah. Like that is the
I don't know if I'd call myself an expert.
Well, that was hands down that was the
Mm-hmm.
best book I read before becoming a parent. And anyway, but it goes back to helping our children make choices, and how important is that to allow our kids not to necessarily fall, but like I'm not going to just wrap you in bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's
providing space for them to have that productive struggle even from a young age. The Love and Logic, teaches like the more we can allow our kids to make lots of mistakes when they're really little, just provides them the skill when they're older and they're faced with maybe some more dire choices that they're making that have higher consequences.
Sure.
They're able to work through that in a positive way. Mm-hmm. And the younger we can teach that, the better.
Oh, yeah. How hard is it? I mean, Kylee, for you, how hard is it to identify a crisis, but also I have no idea. How do you assess, like, what's the level of this child going through? How do you look through that lens?
Yeah. Well, most often if we're really kind of digging right into like, is this a crisis? It's because we've heard or seen something, or the student most often will say something that makes us believe that they might be in crisis, right? We've already kind of talked about like these earlier signs of like, are they having some responses emotionally that are maybe not aligned with the situation? Those are kind of some warning signs for us. But often if we're going right into crisis, it's because a kid is saying something or doing something that makes us feel like, oh, we need to make sure that they're safe. So we immediately involve parents as soon as possible in that. And we just kind of question the kid, like, what's your intent? And some, their intent really is to hurt themselves or to die. And those two things are often sometimes different too. Sometimes they go hand in hand depending on that student. And sometimes they're like, oh no, I don't have any intent in that. I just like
I was just
said
mad
I want to kill. Yeah, I was just frustrated, which kind of goes back to like, if we can help people identify their feelings and appropriately communicate. So sometimes our interventions lead to like replacement language. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, you were frustrated. You said, I'm going to kill myself. You really didn't mean that. What are some ways we can appropriately and not scare everybody, right? And so that might be the angle we take, but there are definitely times where students are really in crisis and we need to intervene. And we question some pretty streamlined questions about their intent behind that, and if they do intend to like not wake up tomorrow morning, right? Is that your intention? And not because they're in trouble, because we're here to support and we really want to get them help. And sometimes that lends to more questions about, have you ever thought of a plan, and what would that plan be? And do they have a means to that plan? And that helps us to understand the acuteness of like the
where
safety, right? We know an ideation is a major risk factor towards suicide or towards that action potentially. But then a plan and a means to a plan are just increase that risk factors tremendously. So that helps us respond and work with parents on what that intervention and the intention around that, intentional decisions around that.
I can't imagine the pressure. That seems like a huge weight to be on the shoulders of our counseling staff, right? How do you support your staff, Kylee, as administrator? How do you make sure their well-being is okay when they have this huge responsibility?
Yeah, it's a heavy weight. I feel it, and I'm not even in the buildings every day. I don't forget what I used to feel, though, when I was in the buildings every day. I feel the weight, of course, of district-wide, like our kids and our community and our parents, and the counselors who I work with. I definitely feel the weight of that, and they carry a lot with them. Oftentimes these big situations, I'm part of that consult and talk with them. And then that's always like, okay, reminding ourselves as counselors how important self-care is. We preach it a lot. We talk about it a lot, and we need to implement it in our own lives. So then what do you do to help move your body? We know that helps. Get some vitamin D, eat a healthy meal, drink water, like some of those
sleep some.
Yeah.
Right. That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Those foundational things are often things that you miss or skip over, but they're so important in self-care. Sometimes we think self-care is like, oh, I got to go do this like hour walk. And it's like, no, you can do some quick things that help you.
Kind of reboot and
regulate.
Yeah. Talking, right? Like connecting, consulting, just thinking through an issue so you know that you're not alone. I think that's one of the roles, why one of my roles is so important, is because these are heavy things to consult about, and even just having two brains thinking through none of this is black and white, right?
Yeah.
Like these are all situations that are very gray, they're very nuanced, they're very individualized. And
each situation is vastly different,
yes,
I'm sure.
Yeah. And so just being able to have some camaraderie between each other, between coworkers on that.
And I do
helps
appreciate how available you make yourself. You know, like all of us counselors have Kylie's cell phone number if, stuff is keeping us up at night, I appreciate how available she makes herself to be able to consult with her.
That's cool.
Because especially in elementary, when there's really just one of us, we don't have a team. High school has like a team of counselors. So
you're kind of on an island a little bit. Yeah.
So Kylee, I jump to her island sometimes.
Well, how hard is it to have a positive climate at school, Sara Jo, in terms of like you can't really create that. I'm sure you work towards that, but what does that look like in your world?
I think every school is different. Both of the schools that I'm at are very similar in that we really focus on connection and building positive relationships. We go about it in different ways depending on the building that I'm in, but really making sure that our kids feel seen, that they are, they have a trusted adult that they can connect with in the building, that knows their name, they're interested in them. If we're noticing kids who maybe need a friend, how can we facilitate friendships with some of these kids? I think just facilitating a lot of connection with others, because we know that is a protective factor when it comes to these things.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Now I'm curious, because at the elementary level, you start with, helping them have these tools. Do we help all of the student body to be like multiple eyes on each other? You know what I mean? Like you can't be there to see all, 500 kids all the time. So do we establish kind of tools for all the kids to like, hey, go tell, Miss Buffington that, my friend seems a little off today. Do you help them with that kind of language and tools?
Yeah. A lot of like our classroom lessons really focus on skills like that. And if you're noticing things, to go to a safe and trusted adult. And if you don't feel comfortable with someone at school, we always encourage students, like, go home and like talk with mom about this, talk with dad about this. And then maybe they can reach out to us.
Yeah.
Just kind of knowing that like our students have a team.
We're
all on the same team.
Yeah.
We all want what's best for them.
Well, and kind of shifting gears a little bit, but Kylee, we talked about the self-harm committee. I love that you and West Ada are working hard to be innovative and proactive. You're not just standing still. Can you talk about the self-harm committee and the work you started doing, I don't know, a year, 18 months ago? What's that look like?
Yeah, and we've always had a response to crisis, right?
Sure.
But the reason we really, that I got a self-harm committee together, I kind of put it out to my whole department who's interested in this, is because our data keeps inching up, right? Our data with crisis keeps inching up. And
that's true everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so really it was a reflection of like, are there holes? are there gaps? Are there things that with not new national research, but just evidence-based research out there of how to intervene in a crisis?
Sure.
So is there new learning that we haven't had? So we just were more proactive, looking at data, coming together and meeting as a team and really kind of saying, this is what we're doing. And then is there anything that we're missing that we could be doing? And so just an opportunity to kind of reflect on that. And then we identified some gaps. We always support students after a crisis, but it wasn't streamlined, right? So
Sure.
that was a gap to like, how do we all make sure that on all 59 sites and 120 counselors that we're all responding in a systematic way, and ensuring that all students are supported in specific ways depending on that acuity of where they're at. So that was kind of some of the main work. We also we're all trained counselors, right? We've gone through a master's program of counseling, and some of that is specific to school counseling, but it's all just counseling, right? And about 80% of my people have their licensed professional licensed professional counseling as well. So we're all highly trained, right?
Sure.
So most of our people, or I think the majority of them, were kind of doing this anyways, but it wasn't like a specific protocol of like,
Sure.
okay, here's some, like we use the Columbia Screener now for our suicide questions. And that's just an evidence-based screener that anybody can use. You don't have to be trained in it. But it gives a streamlining to the questions, right? And some clarity around some of that. And process and routine around that.
Makes sense, yeah.
That's what we were missing, not that we were not doing the good work. We've always done that.
Well, and it is super helpful too, because especially it can be anxiety provoking to talk to kids about these things.
Oh, of course.
And so if you're in that moment and you are anxious or you're nervous to ask this, like it's, I mean, you could read it if you wanted to. It can give you the words if you're struggling.
It can help you kind of navigate that. Well, that kind of leads me into this question. I think it's obvious. No one likes to talk about suicide. Nobody wants to talk about self-harm. But why is it important for us to have these conversations, Sara Jo?
I mean, I think if we keep things in the dark, that's like where they grow. And so if we like shine some light on it and kind of normalize that everybody gets sad sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily mean, everybody's depressed or, it's normal to get anxious.
That's just human behavior, sure.
Yeah. And so I think the more that we talk about it, the more we normalize that like all feelings are okay. Just the communication about it, I don't know. I just think
because it's almost like I tell my kids when they do something like as simple as not turning in their homework, it doesn't go away. Like the problem doesn't go away if we just ignore it. So we have to deal with it. And I think probably helping our society deal with it, right? Because the numbers, like you said, Kylie, are inching up, and that's sad. Like we have to deal with it.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is the conversation's eventually going to happen. It will eventually happen most often, right? There's rarely a time that conversation that somebody doesn't know where that kid's at. That conversation will happen at some time. If we can have open conversations and allow an ability for kids to have those conversations earlier before they're at a dark place, maybe they're just having some initial struggling with something or some sadness or some big feelings. Like that's why the conversation is so important, because eventually it will happen. And our goal is to have some of that happen earlier so they can develop skills as they mature.
Sure.
But it will happen. I promise you.
With all of these policies, procedures, interventions, can you think of some like general stories where an early intervention has really had a positive outcome, or is that like the work you do every day?
Well, it's 100% the work we do every day. So I think there are endless stories of where that happens. And it is hard to think that some of these early skills, like how is that like preventing like suicide, but just the ability for them to have skills and in my opinion, more importantly, their confidence, their own self-confidence to navigate some hard things. We all, and we can all sit here, we all navigate hard things. Every single kid navigates hard things. Every single human navigates hard things. And if they don't have the opportunity to develop some skills, and once again, most importantly, in my opinion, the confidence, the self-confidence to navigate through that, then they're going to at some point not be able to manage that. And so that's where I connect all of this early upstream prevention to suicide prevention, right?
Sure.
They're really developing protective factors. And we know that everybody has some risk factors, and some people have a lot more risk factors than others. But we also know that the protective factors is the most important, because if you have some protective factors, that's going to counteract those risk factors.
Makes
so
sense.
it's so important from a young age to develop some of that, and not just think, oh, let's intervene with this 15-year-old. We still do that. But how important it is that we actually go back and do some of this early prevention.
Well, and full disclosure, like I was able to do this awesome story with you, I don't know, a couple months ago or whatever, about sources of strength and some of the stuff that's happening with our peer groups at the high school level. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, just the ability for peers to be able to have conversations and work together. Why is that important, in your opinion?
Yeah, so our secondary schools have sources of strength, and it's a strength-based program. I could replace that word with protective factor program, right? Like, what are our strengths? What are my own strengths? And how do those help me get through tough times? And so it is peer-led, and it's amazing that it's peer-led because, one, those kids are learning leadership skills, and then peers create conversations with peers that just sometimes peers don't like to have those conversations with adults, and they like to get ideas like, hey, as a teen, I do this. Oh my gosh, I've never tried that. Like, I want to do that. So it not only increases the communication and the conversation, it also connects. It allows time for connection with each other, with adults, but it is strength-based. So kind of the stuff that we've already been talking about, there's a campaign around how do you connect with your community? How do you connect with your family? What do you do physically that helps you? Maybe it's art, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's taking a walk, maybe it's cuddling with my dog, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it is, but it helps them identify those things that we would say are protective factors around connection with anything or anybody and community. And then nutrition, moving your body, trusted adults who are your go-to people. Yeah. We all have them. We just need to identify them and make sure that we're going to them.
And that's, sources of strength, but those are all things that elementary school counselors teach in their classroom lessons.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So now the source of strength, I know in our secondary schools, it's a class, but do the students in the class then go out amongst, are there certain activities where they'll go outside their class to connect with their fellow peers, right?
Exactly. Okay. Yep. And in our middle school, it's just through advisory. So there's not a class. Our secondary, there is a class. But those campaigns are where they go out and maybe they're doing identifying a trusted adult and putting it on a wall for people to be able to identify that, or what's your go-to, thing that makes you feel better, and write it all down. So it's just a way to kind of put it out there and have people help identify, oh yeah, I've never thought about this for me. What is that? Because then if we can identify it for us, then if we're struggling through a time, we can be like, oh wait, I already identified that this makes me feel better. And so now I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, as we're kind of wrapping up here a little bit, I don't know, Sara Jo, what would you, if there's one piece of advice you could give to families to be able to reach out for help, what would your advice be? From the elementary level? Any level, I suppose, but what's your advice?
I would just say, to parents, we all have the same goal. We love your kid. We care about your kid. We want to help. So if you're struggling, if you need ideas, we want to help. Mm-hmm. We want what's best for your kid just like you do. So communicate with us. We're willing. We're here for you.
Yeah. What about, I'm curious, Kylee, maybe more at the secondary level, just a real tangible for parents, if they feel like their child is in some kind of imminent crisis or whatever, what's the best first step they can take?
Yeah, so for sure, a school counselor would be an option. We, if it's if there needs to be some long-term stuff, we have an ample amount of resources. We can help connect them with different resources, and then work with that. We could also do a release of information to get permission to work with that community person to see now what does that look like in school. So, and the school counselors do some short-term solution-focused counseling. So we just don't do really in-depth therapy in our setting, but we often bridge those together and bring them together. So we're a major resource for parents for sure.
You're kind of like a resource hub, right? Because you have the connections with all the community partners who can provide the tools, the support, all that stuff. So
yes,
really,
for sure,
parents can reach out to school counselors. But if it's after hours, is 911 an appropriate phone call? Is the ER
Yep. 988 if it's regarding some suicide crisis. Okay. There's lots of hotlines. We actually have on our West Ada website, we have a crisis link that you can go and it has an ample amount of resources on there. Okay. If it's after hours, definitely 911 is always an option. Yeah. But 988 is that crisis line as well.
Well, we've kind of touched on a lot of different stuff. I mean, before we say goodbye, though, any parting thoughts? Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to leave our folks with, or have we done a good job?
I think pretty good. Yeah. I mean, I think I just think overall, our youth are they're resilient. I have a lot of hope for our kids. They're a generation that wants to talk. They want these conversations. They want the skills. They want the opportunity. So I have a lot of hope.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Kids are resilient. Sara Jo, agree?
I agree.
Yeah. Yes. Well, just can't thank you both enough for what you do. It's such important work. And anyway, and it's hard to kind of encapsulate that in a half-hour podcast
we could talk all day.
But we could talk all day. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Well, and as always, we're going to go to our student pulse section. A couple of great students from...
We do. We have Eagle High students coming in to visit with us today, and it should be fun. We have a little bit younger perspective. So
a couple of sophomores coming in.
We'll get to hear from some 10th grade.
Love it.
So,
Yeah, stick around.
Need tech help at West Ada? The West Ada Service Desk is here to support parents and students with devices, logins, and online tools. The fastest way to get help is by submitting an online support request through the parent or student portal. We'll include a direct link in the show notes. You can also call 208-350-5300, Monday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Help is always just a click or a call away with the West Ada Service Desk.
Well, we have a couple of Mustangs in the house today for our Student Pulse podcast episode.
I'm surrounded by Eagle people. Oh, my goodness.
I'm not biased, Ken.
No.
It's just where I live.
Yeah.
So we have Caden and Weston from Eagle High Student Council. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. Great to be here.
It's good to have you here.
It's our latest student pulse, so we need to get our finger on the pulse of what is happening at Eagle. So, okay, which one of you guys wants to pick our first
Go ahead.
topic? Weston's going for it. What's the topic?
All right. Learning versus being taught. This is better ways to learn.
Learning versus being... Okay, so what do you mean by that?
So our most recent meeting for student council is we were talking about better ways of being taught.
Sure.
So being taught, in my opinion, is having someone tell you the information and not giving it to you.
Sure.
Learning is for when you go to an air show, you get to learn about all the planes there.
Are you a plane guy?
Oh, I'm a very big plane guy.
Yeah. I love it.
Right. So that's my analogy, right?
Sure.
So if you have a teacher that's telling you what to do, that you're being taught something, you're just not learning everything. Okay. So a couple of my friends, they all said, well, we all learn differently, because some of my teachers, like Mr. Wright, Mr. Vester, those are a couple of teachers at Eagle.
Sure.
Mr. Wright will hand out a big survey to tell you to ask, hey, how do you learn?
So he kind of gets a feel for how you learn best, kind of thing.
Yeah. So he'll there was one time. Hold on, I got to catch my breath.
Podcast breathing. Here we go.
Yeah, I know. I got to do that sometimes when I start talking.
No, that's fair.
He sent out a survey to add a song to a playlist, and so he had a class playlist for every single class.
Oh, so it's like music that you all enjoy kind
Right.
of collectively.
But then
I love it.
But then that also shows like the character of your classmates.
Yeah.
So like one person could like rap, one person could like rock, classic rock, disco, like
country, yeah.
Classic rock guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Right? So like it's a very broad subject.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
that.
But so what we discussed in student council, Caden, you could add on to this, is we discussed like the best way how to learn, in our opinions, is that it should be like notes for 10 minutes, notes for 20 minutes, an assignment, and then a little review, and then a group project.
Okay.
Because so then you're covering all 4 bases. You're learning, you're taking notes for the people that like to take notes,
Sure.
Right.
the people that like to do the hands-on with the assignment, and the people like to be social. For me, I can't work without someone or something happening.
So collaboration is
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
Your
Collaboration,
gig.
yeah.
Sure.
That's
That makes
great.
sense.
That's great feedback for teachers. You know, they study the art and science of teaching is called pedagogy, right?
yeah.
So those are some good strategies that teachers can use. Caden, do you find your preference in learning style?
Yeah, I like taking notes. That's
Yeah.
the way I learn. But like Weston was saying, the thing that he said about notes, then an assignment, review, groups, a lot of the best teachers that we all agreed on at Eagle High, that's what they do, and that's
Yeah.
what works, and everyone loves their class and does good in it.
That's great feedback.
So I think that's
love
that's
it,
the
love
way
it,
to go.
love
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks,
What do you
Hannah.
guys think about student council? What do you love about student council?
Oh my
And just to go, you
It's-
guys are both sophomores. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
we've been having a lot of seniors coming in, so it's just kind of nice to have a younger
Perspective,
viewpoint.
yeah.
What do you think about Weston student council? What do you think?
I've been a part of it. I've been a part of student council for about 4 years now.
Okay.
Not
So middle
Eagle.
school?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Star Middle School.
Oh, you were at Star Middle. Okay.
Yeah. Couple of the best years at middle school for me was learning about the community, because not only I was a part of student council, I was a part of like the Friday jokes, which they still do that.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
do.
I come in front of like 700 people, tell jokes, and then go off. It was so much fun, and I mean, and that's what kind of boosts your like confidence.
I love it.
Yeah, my saying is social anxiety is scared of me.
He's said that so many times. It's
I'm
great.
going to refrain from telling any dad jokes, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Caden, what about you? What student council?
Yeah, I've same as him. I've been in student council for about 4 years now, but I started at Eagle Middle, so it's
okay.
a little bit different. We didn't do the jokes, which
Yeah.
kind of wish I did. That sounds like a lot of fun, honestly. But it's the same thing. It's just learning like all the things we do, like assemblies, what works put into those,
Yeah.
and it makes it more fun, honestly.
Yeah, you're
Just
contributing to the whole culture of the school, like the experience for all the students, not just student council.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And seeing the behind the scenes of everything, I think, is just one of the best parts.
Oh, that's very
You
cool.
guys sure work
That's
hard.
very cool.
All right, Caden, you want to pick our next topic?
Sure. Snag this one
Oh, he's
over
reaching
here.
across. Okay.
can.
Don't spill my water, man. Come on.
Try my best. No promises. Okay, so this says new Stuco activities and events.
So what's going on with Eagle
So with
High
this,
Stuco?
just wanted to highlight some of the new things that we've done this year. What did we do? We started out the year, we did a thing where in student council, we got in groups and we had to create like a little event that we could possibly hold as an idea. So we
yeah,
made
that
a
was pretty
group.
cool.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah. We had like an idea of like I would call it like a tailgate, but like with everyone there, so like the whole school would be able to come.
Oh.
It was called City of Stars, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call
But
it.
it was like a concept idea of like a block party, but in the
Okay.
parking lot.
Okay.
And everyone would pull up with their chairs and their fireplaces, and it'd be really cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fun. I'd be down for that.
We had
Yeah.
get some live music.
Yeah.
Would have been a lot of fun.
So you guys proposed this
Yes.
idea.
We did, yeah.
Did it not win? Did it not make its way to the top?
It did
No.
not.
Well, you're only sophomores. You still have 2 more
Exactly. That
years
is
to bring
true,
it to
right.
life.
But we had a lot of good ideas. One, there was a spike ball tournament. That was a good idea. We had go-kart racing.
Oh,
Holy
I
cow.
feel like
Holy
liability
cow.
might
Yeah,
be.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, these are just ideas.
Yeah.
A
So-
lot of them were not logistically.
Feasible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were still
sure.
fun, exciting ideas that we got to pitch.
Did any of
Full
any
Shark
of
Tank
that
style.
any of the pitched ideas make it to fruition?
We had a couple of them, but they didn't fully come out. So we had like an assembly. We had like an assembly, but it wasn't spike ball. We had different types of sports.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that was pretty cool. But
was
so
good.
like it was kind of like the same concept, just with a different sport.
Yeah.
Sure.
I heard that assembly was really well attended and kids were like super engaged.
Oh, yeah.
They got to do stuff.
Our
yeah.
assemblies
Yeah.
this year have been really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
it was really cool.
Very cool. All right, last topic. What are you jumping on there? Who's
Go
gonna
ahead,
get this for us?
Weston. Oh,
Go ahead,
Katie.
you can grab it.
Okay. All right, student involvement.
Student involvement. What do you mean by that?
Student involvement. I feel like when it comes to homecoming, when it comes to all like these major events, Battle of the Bolt. I mean, Battle of the Bolt was fun. We just didn't have a lot of participation.
Okay.
That's tough because it was on
It was on a
It was on-
Saturday,
It was
wasn't
on a
it?
Saturday.
of MLK
okay.
weekend. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was so a lot of people were out of
People
town
out
and
of
skiing and
town.
stuff.
Oh, that makes sense. Sure.
So
sure.
I mean, like you said, participation wasn't great, but being that it was a weekend and a 3-day weekend, I'd say it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, for what we had, it was pretty cool. Me and Caden actually trying to segue still into this for student involvement. We actually had like a really big poster. It was a 30-foot long poster with all and we showed Hawaii Student Council this, and they're like, "Holy guacamole, this is incredible!" It had all signatures of all the students of Eagle High School
and staff.
and staff. We got all admin.
And where are you displaying? Just in the gym, or
It
where
was
you-
at
where
Hawaii,
you-
right?
It was at
Yeah.
Hawaii. We
Oh,
had
okay.
we had
Posted
like
it on
yeah.
in the entrance,
Okay.
so everyone got to see it, and we went around
yeah.
every day during lunch and advisory, and just anyone say, "Hey, let's sign this. It's for Battle of the Bolt."
It was
fun.
it was insane.
It was a
cool.
project,
Yeah.
but it was so worth it.
Yeah, no.
that's
So
cool.
for people who are listening and may not be familiar, our big rivalry games like Battle of the Bolt and Stinky Sneaker
Sure,
and all those things,
real
there's a rubric.
CHS, all those things.
There's
Yeah.
a rubric. So
Yeah.
part of the rubric judges your decorations and your posters and your things like that, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure you scored pretty high on that
Yeah,
one.
that was part of the plan, is just to get our decorations grayed up,
Dialed
which
in.
I think it definitely did.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it. Well, and I think the thing I love about student council is it's you got to learn to collaborate, and ideas get shot down, and ideas get through, and that's just part of
Yeah.
It's kind of like being on the communications team. You
yeah.
have to come up with all kinds of ideas, and some stick and some don't, but you can't be afraid to try.
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Rodenball always tells me my ideas are bad, but that's a whole different discussion. So we're
That's not true, everyone.
That's what I think is a big part of Stuco, is just knowing how to communicate ideas and listen to others, and being okay if yours get shot down, because might not be the best idea at the time, but it could get better. And
part of the learning
something
process.
like that. Exactly, part
I'm
of the
actually
learning
gonna
process.
add on to that. When it comes to like being shot down, it's not because they don't think it's a bad idea. They want it so then you're not wasting your time with something that they don't feel is valuable. So like our president Ray, great guy.
Sure.
He's a great leader. He's realistically one of my role models, because
Very cool.
He taught
Agree with that.
he doesn't tell people what to do. He leads them. So he says, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna attack it. And so when I ask him, like, hey, do you want me and Caden to like Cato to do like this big poster? And he goes, dude, that'd be sick. Right?
Get to it.
Well, you know,
Get
it's
to
cool.
it.
It's cool to hear you say that, because we actually had Ray on the podcast.
Yeah.
And he
Really?
said that was his leadership style. He's like,
Yeah.
everybody has good ideas. They just need to kind of be empowered to go for it and to
Oh, yeah.
delegate and things like that. So it's cool to hear underclassmen echo
what we
what
heard
you already
earlier.
said. Yeah,
that's really
No, and
super
it really
cool.
works. I think everyone in student council looks up to him and thinks he's a great leader, and his style works amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have
I'd
something
say
to model after.
This is
your
one of our
next-
best years of Stuco we've had in
Great.
my recent memory.
Love it. Okay, well, final question. What's one thing you wish adults knew about being a teenager now?
2026.
The curriculum's a lot harder than how they grew up, in my opinion.
That's probably a little fair.
Our standards.
I
Well,
didn't
you know,
even have math back in the day.
Yeah, I think agreeing with that. I think it's just every aspect of life is completely different.
yeah, true.
Like he was saying, curriculum's harder. Like social life is different. You now have social media and instant internet and chat GPT and stuff. It's just completely different.
I think those challenges are getting harder. It's funny. Katie and I were talking earlier. Like I just finished the book, The Anxious Generation, and it's talking about your generation and how social media has changed. So to your point, I think the way you all are growing up is so vastly different than the way we grew up. And I think,
100%.
anyway, if you're listening, that book is
Yeah.
worth the read, because it talks about how different our generations are. And anyway, it's just nice to know, so we can communicate and work through the problems a little better, I think, too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you guys, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's
Thank
great
you for
to get
having
a
us here.
pulse and
Kind of hear what's going on at Eagle High.
go back and go Mustangs, and can't wait to see what you guys do the rest of the year.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Well, how nice is it to get a perspective from a couple of high school sophomores?
Right? I happen to live with a high school sophomore, so I live in that land every day. But it's nice to top kind of a heavy conversation with some lighthearted, interesting things about Eagle High. Yeah.
Well, and I'm not sure we've done a podcast where we had such a wide swing in the subject
Right.
matter. And that's okay too, because I love having fun, but I also love having conversations that are necessary to have.
Yeah. Well, and we can't thank our colleagues enough for doing the important work they do and really helping us understand why it's important and kind of that upstream, as they would call it,
100%.
preventative measures that they take. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for the experience my kids have and the tools that they're being given so that we can have these kinds of conversations.
Yeah, and the resources that we have as parents and the resources our teachers have, it's pretty, Kylie's been here for 25 years. The fact that she's kind of been there, done that, it's very helpful to have them doing what they do.
And the resources are out there. And I assume, like always, you're going to link a bunch of this information. So this is one of the shows that you're going to want to get those show notes on and find those resources.
100%. There's a lot of different things that I'll put in our show notes, so please check that out. And as always, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Google, Amazon. If you listen on iTunes, please rate us and leave a review. Or you can always go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel there. Would love for you to do that. And to learn more, listen to some of our past episodes, westada.org/podcast. So it's those are the resources we have for you.
Yeah, and if you if you ever want to share ideas with us, or you want to further a conversation about an episode we've had, please feel free to reach out to us via email at communicate@westada.org, and we'll be sure to get back to you.
Well, as always, we love having you here. Thanks again to Kylee and Sara Jo and to Caden and Weston. Love having just different guests.
The student pulse is really fun. I love having their voices.
It's
on
a
here,
lot of fun. Well, until next time, thanks for being here. We'll see you soon.